The conversion for a first-order liquid phase reaction AB in a CSTR is 50. If another CSTR of the same volume is connected in series, then the conversion at the exit of the second reactor will be A 60, B 75, C 90, D 100. The correct answer is 75. What is the dispersion number for a CSTR? A0, B1, C1, D. The correct answer is rate of a chemical reaction is independent of the concentration of the reactants for a reaction. A0 order, B third order, C consecutive, D none of these. The correct answer is 0 order. With increase in temperature, the rate constant obeying Arhenious equation. A increases, B decreases, C decreases exponentially. D can either increase or decrease, depends on the frequency factor. The correct answer is increases. Bulk diffusion in catalyst pore with increase in pressure. A increases, B decreases, C remains unchanged, D increases exponentially. The correct answer is decreases. Pick out the correct statement. A chemical reaction accompanied by absorption of heat is called an exothermic reaction. B. A chemical reaction accompanied by evolution of heat is called an endothermic reaction. C. The rate constant for a first-order reaction does not change on changing the concentration units. D. Chemical equilibrium state is dynamic in nature. The correct answer is the rate constant for a first-order reaction does not change on changing the concentration units. The concentration of A in a first-order reaction AB decreases. A linearly with time, B exponentially with time, C very abruptly towards the end of the reaction, D logarithmically with time. The correct answer is exponentially with time. The equilibrium constant of chemical reaction in the presence of catalyst. A increases, B decreases, C remains unaffected. D can either increase or decrease, depends on the type of catalyst. The correct answer is remains unaffected. The order of a chemical reaction is A. An experimentally determined quantity, B. Always equal to the total stoichiometric number of reactants, C. Never fractional, D. None of these. The correct answer is an experimentally determined quantity. A chemical reaction occurs when the energy of the reacting molecules is the activation energy of reaction. A less than, B equal to, C more than, D equal to or more than. The correct answer is equal to or more than. In the hydrodealkylation of toluene to benzene, the following reactions occur: C7H8H2C6H6C842C6H6C12H10H2. Toluene and hydrogen are fed to a reactor in a molar ratio 15.80 of the toluene gets converted, and the selectivity of benzene defined as moles of benzene formed moles of toluene converted is 90. The fractional conversion of hydrogen is A 0.16, B 0.144, C 0.152, D 0.136. The correct answer is 0.144. Catalyst is a substance which chemical reaction A increases the speed of A, B decreases the speed of A, C can either increase or decrease the speed of A, D alters the value of equilibrium constant in a reversible. The correct answer is can either increase or decrease the speed of A. A rise in temperature A normally tends to increase the reaction rate. B does not affect a catalyzed reaction. C does not affect photochemical reaction rates. D all A, B and C. The correct answer is all A, B, and C. The enzyme which can catalyze the conversion of glucose to ethyl alcohol is A. invertase, B. maltase, C. diastase, D. zymase. The correct answer is zymase. For reaction P2,3 our molar rate of consumption of P is A. double of that of Q, B. same as that of Q, C. half of that of Q, D. 2/3 of that of Q. The correct answer is half of that of Q. If pore diffusion is the controlling step in a solid catalyzed reaction, the catalyst A. porosity is very important, B. porosity is of less importance, C. internal surface area is utilized efficiently, D. none of these. The correct answer is porosity is of less importance. The conversion of a reactant undergoing a first-order reaction at a time equal to 3 times the half-life of the reaction is A. 0.875, B. 0.5, C. 0.425, D. data insufficient to calculate. The correct answer is 0.875. In case of unimolecular type elementary reaction, plug flow reactor as compared to mixed reactor is A. more, B. same, C. less, D. unpredictable. The correct answer is more. What is the value of N if the reaction rate of the chemical reaction AB is proportional to CAN and it is found that the reaction rate triples when the concentration of A is increased 9 times? A. 12, B. 13, C. 19, D. 3. The correct answer is 12. The first-order series reaction is conducted in a batch reactor. The initial concentrations of AB and CCA0 CB0 CC0 respectively are all non-zero. The variation of CB with reaction time will not show a maximum if A. K2 CB0 K1 CA0, B. K.CA.0 K2, CB0, C. CB0 CA0, D. CA0 CB0. The correct answer is K2 CB0 K1 CA0. A second-order reaction of the form ABC is called a pseudo-first order reaction when A. CA0 CB0, B. CA0 CB0, C. CB0 CA0, D. CB0 CB0. The correct answer is CB0 CB0. Pick out the wrong statement. A. In a first-order reaction A products the reaction becomes slower as it proceeds because the concentration of A decreases and the rate is proportional to the concentration of A. B. Transition state theory approaches the problem of calculating reaction rates by concentrating on the idea of activated complexes. C. According to the penetration theory, the mass transfer coefficient decreases if the exposure time of an eddy to the solute decreases. D. If the rate of an irreversible reaction AB2C is K.CA.CB, then the reaction is always elementary. The correct answer is according to the penetration theory, the mass transfer coefficient decreases if the exposure time of an eddy to the solute decreases. Effectiveness factor E of a catalyst pellet is defined as effectiveness factor for a first-order reaction is given by where T Thiele modulus A. tan HTT, B. tan TT, C. tan HT tan T, D. none of these. The correct answer is tan HTT. Inversion of cane sugar is an example of A. unimolecular reaction with first order, B. bimolecular reaction with second order, C. bimolecular reaction with first order, D. unimolecular reaction with second order. The correct answer is bimolecular reaction with first order. Pick out the correct statement. A catalyst speeds up the forward reaction but slows down the reverse reaction. B. Addition of catalyst changes the equilibrium constant. C. Pressure changes do not change the equilibrium concentrations. D. The composition of equilibrium is changed by catalyst. The correct answer is pressure changes do not change the equilibrium concentrations. In which of the following gaseous phase reactions the equilibrium of the reaction remains unaffected by pressure changes? A. 2O33O2. B. N2O22 No. C. 2 No 2 N2O4. D. 2 So2O22 So 3. The correct answer is N2O22 No. Integral method for analyzing the kinetic data is used. A. When the data are scattered. B. For testing specific mechanisms with simple rate expressions. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. The correct answer is both A and B. The rate of a gas phase reaction is given by K.CA.CB. If the volume of the reaction vessel is reduced to L4th of its initial volume, then the reaction rate compared to the original rate will be times A4, B16, C8, D2. The correct answer is 16. Rate of a chemical reaction is not affected by the A. Catalyst, B. Temperature, C. Reactants concentration, D. Number of molecules of reactants taking part in the reaction. The correct answer is number of molecules of reactants taking part in the reaction. Overall rate of reaction in a heterogeneous catalytic reaction depends upon the mass and energy transfer from the fluid to solid surface, and its rate of reaction is usually the concentration of catalyst if it does not entail a chain mechanism. A. Proportional to, B. Independent of, C. Inversely proportional to, D. Proportional to the square of. The correct answer is proportional to. Resistance is not involved in the combustion of a carbon particle. A. Gas film, B. Ash, C. Chemical reaction, D. None of these. The correct answer is ash. In an ideal P.F.R. at steady state conditions, the composition of reactants remains constant along a flow path. B. The conversion of the reactant varies from point to point along a flow path. C. There is no lateral mixing of fluid. D. There may be diffusion along the flow path. The correct answer is the conversion of the reactant varies from point to point along a flow path. B.E.T. method of finding out surface area of a catalyst uses the extension of isotherm. A. Langmuir, B. Freundlich, C. Tempten, D. None of these. The correct answer is Langmuir. In a chemical reaction represented by it is observed that the I rate of reaction increases by a factor of 4 on doubling the concentration of the reactant. 2 rate of reaction increases by a factor of 9 on trebling the concentration of the reactant. Then the rate of the reaction is proportional to here Ca concentration of the reactant. Ca, B Ca2, C Ca3, D Ca4. The correct answer is Ca2. Which of the following holds good for an elementary reaction? A. The rate of disappearance of Y is equal to the rate of appearance of Z. B. The rate of disappearance of Y is equal to the rate of disappearance of X. C. 3 times the rate of disappearance of X is equal to the rate of appearance of Z. D. The rate of disappearance of X is equal to the rate of appearance of Z. The correct answer is 3 times the rate of disappearance of X is equal to the rate of appearance of Z. An example of autothermal reactor operation is A. Sulfur dioxide oxidation, B. Ethylene oxidation, C. Benzene oxidation, D. Ammonia synthesis. The correct answer is ethylene oxidation. For a packed bed reactor, the presence of a long tail in the residence time distribution curve is an indication of A. Ideal plug flow, B. Bypass, C. Dead zone, D. Channeling. The correct answer is dead zone. Space-time in flow reactor is A. Usually equal to the residence time, B. The reciprocal of the space velocity, C. A measure of its capacity, D. Both A and B. The correct answer is both A and B. For a first-order isothermal chemical reaction in a porous catalyst, the effectiveness factor is 0.3. The effectiveness factor will increase if the A. Catalyst size is reduced or the catalyst diffusivity is reduced. B. Catalyst size is reduced or the catalyst diffusivity is increased. C. Catalyst size is increased or the catalyst diffusivity is reduced. D. Catalyst size is increased or the catalyst diffusivity is increased. The correct answer is catalyst size is reduced or the catalyst diffusivity is increased. Cold short cooling is only practical when the feed temperature is than the reaction temperature. A. Higher, B. Much higher, C. Lower, D. Much lower. The correct answer is much lower. The preferred reacting system for oxidation of o-xylene to phthalic anhydride is A. Jacketed liquid phase CSTR, B. Jacketed steam heated multitubular reactor, C. Multitubular reactor with cooling, D. Multistage multitubular reactor with interstage cooling. The correct answer is jacketed liquid phase CSTR. The effectiveness factor for large value of Thiele modulus LKD1 of a solid catalyzed first-order reaction is equal to where a length of the reactor cmD1 diffusion coefficient cm2 second. A. LKD1, B1 LKD1, C1, D. The correct answer is 1 LKD1. A first-order reaction AB occurs in an isothermal porous catalyst pellet of spherical shape. If the concentration of A at the center of the pellet is much less than at the external surface, the process is limited by A. Diffusion within the pellet, B. Reaction, C. External mass transfer, D. None of the above. The correct answer is diffusion within the pellet. Following isothermal kinetic data are obtained in a basket type of mixed flow reactor for a porous catalyst. Determine the role of pore diffusion and external mass transfer processes. A. Strong pore diffusion control and mass transfer not controlling. B. Both pore diffusion and mass transfer not controlling. C. Both pore diffusion and mass transfer controlling. D. Mass transfer controlling. The correct answer is strong pore diffusion control and mass transfer not controlling.